You're watching the Central Post. This is Samiksha Ajay. What do you think Trump, Putin, and Modi all have in common this week? They're all moving at the same time in ways that are very hard to explain as coincidences or mere diplomacy. Trump just ended his 2-day state visit to China, his first in 9 years. Putin will land in Beijing on Monday, and Modi is currently in Europe, having spent yesterday locking down India's energy future in Abu Dhabi. 3 leaders, 5 days, all repositioning. So the question isn't what were they talking, what were they doing? No. It's why now and why all at once. Because when world's major leaders are in motion simultaneously or are hosting countries either back to back, like China, it's not just a busy week in geopolitics. That's realignment. So let's try connecting the dots. Let's start with Trump. He flew into Beijing on May 13th with a delegation that looked more like a Silicon Valley conference than a diplomatic mission. Tim Cook, Elon Musk, Larry Fink, executives from Meta, JP Morgan, Boeing, the message was clear. America wants back into China's market. And China received him like a king. 3 separate ceremonies, choreographed flag waving, brass bands, a tour of the Ming Dynasty Temple of Heaven. So yes, the pageantry was extraordinary. But here's the question worth asking. Who needed this visit more? Because before Trump even landed, he had already suspended a $13 billion arms sale to Taiwan and agreed to sell NVIDIA's most advanced AI chips to China. These weren't small gestures. These were concessions made before the negotiations even began. And when Xi, in closed-door talks, warned Trump that the Taiwan question could lead to, and I'm paraphrasing here, a direct collision between these two superpowers, Trump went quiet. Reporters asked him about it outside the Temple of Heaven. He said, China is beautiful. Now Putin, he wasn't in this summit. He wasn't invited, but he'll be in Beijing by Monday. The Kremlin is calling it a routine visit, timed to the 25th anniversary of Russia-China Friendship Treaty. And sure, that's technically true. But the timing, that's not routine. Putin watched Trump-Xi summit from the outside, and what he saw was Xi signaling openness towards America. Partners, not rivals, Xi said publicly. Trade deals, Boeing aircraft, agriculture commitments, a warm optic. From Russia and for Russia, that's not a comfortable image. The Russia-China partnership is real, but it's increasingly unequal. And the gap is only going to grow if Trump and Xi actually follow through on even a fraction of what they announced. So Putin arrives Monday, not from a position of strength exactly, but making sure Beijing remembers that Russia is still in the room. And then there's India. While all of this were happening, Modi landed in Abu Dhabi, assaulted by UAE military jets, which, as a diplomatic signal, is not subtle. Well, why UAE first is not even a question, because India is in genuine energy crisis. Modi will be home with $5 billion UAE investment commitment, fresh LPG supply arrangements, a strategic petroleum reserve partnership with Abu Dhabi's national oil company. Well, that's just one way to put it. Another way is that India just made sure that it won't be caught bare-handed if the Gulf gets worse. And then Modi moves on. Today's in Netherlands, then Sweden, Norway, Italy. We are up quietly building supply chains and deepening trade ties on the other side of the world simultaneously. So here's what this week actually looks like if you zoom out. Xi just hosted America's president and is now hosting Russia's. Trump flew to Beijing making concessions and flew back calling it a win. Whether the deals materialize is a different story, as China has a history of announcing purchases and quietly not following it through. Putin is heading to Beijing to remind Xi that no limits partnership still has value, even that partnership becomes more one-sided by the month. And Modi is stitching together India's own quiet architecture, Gulf energy, European trade, strategic reserves, with no permanent allies, no fixed blocks, and no apologies for it. The old world order had clear lines. This one doesn't. And the leaders who understand that, who can move fast, head smart, and deal with everyone without being owned by anyone, are the ones who actually come out of weeks like this stronger. Now, whether that's actually what happened here, we'll know it soon. So keep watching the Central Post.